We know awkward fighters. Real fighters know awkward fighters. He's not an awkward fighter. He's just a dumb fighter.
You trying to kill me or I'm trying to kill you. You know, I think it's, let's go in here and make this money. You know, it's more of a business tactic than anything.
Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. You have the Paul brothers and they come over to boxing. Their idea from day one is we don't have the skills or the experience. What we're gonna do is we'll take on the absolute best guys, but they're gonna spot us some pounds.
At the press conference, Gervonta Davis raised the tension when he directly threatened Jake Paul with a harsh warning. He made it clear that he plans to finish the fight brutally and leave no doubts about the outcome. Davis said he is coming to knock Jake out and take the bag, showing full confidence in his power and determination.
He's a fighter that just started fighting. That's, you know how when somebody first come in the gym and like yeah. When somebody first come in the gym and they've been coming for like a little minute, so they think they nice now. They ain't get all the everything down packed, but that's how he fight. I don't think he's not like he's an awkward fighter. Awkward is somebody, I don't want to call no names, but awkward is like different from him. He's not awkward. We know awkward fighters. Real fighters know awkward fighters. He's not an awkward fighter. He's just a dumb fighter.
Eddie Hearn did not hold back when sharing his opinion about the highly unusual matchup between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. He explained that there is a huge difference between genuine boxing and staged entertainment, and this fight falls firmly in the latter category. For him, it is not a test of skill or sporting credibility, but rather a spectacle designed to generate attention. Hearn laughed at the idea, calling it hilarious and stressing that people should not confuse such exhibitions with professional boxing at the highest level. His reaction reflects the growing concern among traditional boxing promoters that entertainment-based matches are overshadowing the essence of the sport.
We're getting Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. What can you tell me about that? What can you tell me about why Jake and Anthony has maybe been put to the side for now?
Yeah, they always told us that it was, you know, we were looking at that fight for February of next year, and they always said that there was a chance that Jake would fight in November. I think, wasn't I the one that broke Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis 6 months ago or something? I know that I knew that they'd agree that deal. I didn't know they were about to announce it then, but I did know that they'd agreed that deal previously. So I don't like it, if I'm honest. I mean, I think we need to really differentiate between boxing and an entertainment concept, and that's what that is. It's a freak show. It's entertainment. It's a lightweight fighting a cruiserweight. You know, with, I don't know, is it bigger gloves and certain minutes per round? I don't know what it is, but, you know, I understand the market and I understand this freak show shock kind of the world mentality of people potentially tuning in. Is that a step too far? Maybe. I mean, I hated Jake Paul against Mike Tyson, but it did massive numbers. I hate Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis. It'll probably do massive numbers. So that's when you really have to differentiate yourself between, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it isn't going to do good business. However you want to be involved with it is another kettle of fish. I don't want to be involved with it, but I do respect the fact that it's going to do big numbers.
Ariel Helwani offered a contrasting perspective by pointing out that fans often accept and even enjoy unconventional spectacles in MMA, yet when something similar appears in boxing, they react negatively. According to Helwani, this is an unfair double standard. He believes that while the Davis versus Paul fight may not be traditional boxing, it has entertainment value that audiences will enjoy. Helwani emphasized that the fight is not meant to be judged by the same standards as title bouts or sanctioned events, but rather seen as a one-off show. For him, if people can embrace spectacle fights in other combat sports, then boxing fans should be able to enjoy this contest without excessive criticism.
Fight at. Generally, I'm sure it'll be a little bit closer, maybe 200 to 150. Like, how much bigger can Tank get? Why would that be somewhat celebrated in MMA, but in boxing it isn't? Do you know what I mean, Pizzi? In MMA, like, we sort of love the freak shows, but in boxing they don't. Why do you think that is? What does that say about us in MMA?
Well, we're a sick bunch of fucks. There's no doubt about that. But I will say,
you agree,
like,
right, or no?
Yeah. Like, the idea of the MMA freak show is everybody coming together and saying, "Oh, we're gonna watch a freak show. This is what this is. We know what this is. It is absolutely mental what we're going to watch here." I think where people get annoyed with Jake is like, he even got me. You know what I mean? This guy is the greatest outrage farmer of all time. I saw his tweet and I was like, reading it, you know what I mean? And I was like, well, this is exactly what he fucking wants me to do. Like this is every time I'm doing this, he's in the game of getting eyeballs, and this is ridiculous. As long as why do I like an MMA freak show? Why would I watch Eddie Hall in an MMA fight against Dylan Dennis? I'd be like, this is fucking ridiculous, and I have to watch it. That's the way I feel about Jake Paul and Davis. I will watch it. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's all of us getting together to go to the circus for the evening. I think the reason why there's pushback against it when Jake does it is because Jake, and obviously tactfully, is going like, what are you talking about? This guy's a world champion. I took out Mike Tyson. He's a world champion. And then I'm going to take out Canelo and stuff like this. Like he's winding us up. He's not agreeing to the stipulation that we're all agreeing on, which is this is a freak show. This is absolutely mental. As long as we can agree with that, we can all enjoy it collectively.
Chael Sonnen was more critical, dismissing Jake Paul's ability as a boxer. He argued that the Paul brothers are not known for possessing real boxing skills, but instead rely on their fame and wealth to secure fights with big names. Sonnen highlighted the pattern of Jake Paul choosing opponents who are legends or skilled fighters, despite the clear imbalance in technical expertise. According to him, these bouts are not about fairness or competitive balance, but rather about using money and influence to get attention. Sonnen's sharp critique reflected the opinion of many who see this fight as a money-driven event rather than a genuine clash of boxing talent.
Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. You have the Paul brothers and they come over to boxing. Their idea from day one is we don't have the skills or the experience. What we're going to do is we'll take on the absolute best guys, but they're going to spot us some pounds. Tank has one job to do, that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport. My skills versus your skills, of which I am an abundance of and of which you have none of. Tank is telling anybody that will listen that there's a size problem. My skills and my experience in boxing, I do not have to wonder who's in the bar tonight. Any bar I go to, I rule the bar. No, it turns out that you don't. Just need some big guy to corner you, apparently. Boxing has never stood its ground. Boxing has never been able to explain why Floyd needed a half hour to get rid of a guy who's never boxed before. Tank Davis has already began this. When you choose a dum-dum, don't be surprised when he goes out and acts like a dum-dum.
The size difference between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul is one of the most debated issues surrounding this exhibition. Davis is a natural lightweight, while Paul fights closer to cruiserweight, making the weight gap massive. This has led to speculation that the match could already be predetermined. Some analysts claim that no matter what the result is, the fight benefits Jake Paul far more than Davis. If Jake wins, he gains credibility by beating a star boxer. If Davis wins, critics will dismiss it as irrelevant due to the size mismatch. Such suspicions have fueled rumors that the outcome may already be fixed to favor Paul's career trajectory.
100%.
He should beat Jake Paul, shouldn't he?
No, he shouldn't.
But you don't think? Sorry. So, I thought we were all unanimous here. Do you think that
shouldn't.
You think Jake Paul beats Gervonta Davis?
70 pounds is 70 pounds.
Gervonta Davis is very small. 5'5".
He's tiny, bro.
That's
what I'm saying.
Jake Paul,
he's a little man.
If Jake Paul's tucking up,
move on,
and absorbing punishment for walking forward, then look, there's a weight advantage.
Ryan Garcia compared this event to previous controversial matchups in boxing history, such as when Mike Tyson fought in exhibitions that fans did not truly ask for. Garcia admitted that the public does not want Davis versus Paul either, but noted that sometimes the boxing world pushes forward with these spectacles regardless. He stressed that Davis is much smaller than Paul, making the fight unfair from the start. Garcia's view was that even though fans may be uncomfortable with the matchup, they will ultimately have to accept it because of the hype and financial incentives driving it.
Bro, that's a fucking disgrace of a fight.
Yeah.
You know it. Just like the Mike Tyson, low-key was a disgrace, but we accepted it. But
Yeah.
he was 60 years old. I mean,
Right.
the casuals don't see the weight difference. They see Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis.
Yeah.
And if Gervonta Davis doesn't fuck up Jake Paul, they're going to think Jake Paul is some pound-for-pound champion type of fighter.
Yeah.
Gervonta Davis, he's actually really small. Like, when I fought him, he's small.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a very unfair fight.
Jake Paul added fuel to the fire by taunting Davis with one of his signature publicity stunts. In a video, Paul destroyed a cake shaped like Davis as a way of mocking his opponent. The act was designed to humiliate and provoke Davis, but it also generated significant online buzz. Paul has always been a master of promotion, and this gesture served its purpose by making headlines and adding to the rivalry narrative. The destruction of the tank-shaped cake reminded fans that Paul thrives on mind games and spectacle as much as he does on actual fighting. Watching Davis step into the ring against someone as large as Jake Paul will be surreal. The size difference is almost comical, but Davis does have major advantages in skill, speed, and defensive ability. His footwork allows him to move quickly around the ring and avoid heavy shots. While Paul will try to use his size and reach, hitting a much smaller and slippery opponent like Davis could prove difficult. Davis's defense and counterpunching skills may give him opportunities despite the mismatch in weight and height. The intrigue of the fight comes from this dynamic: skill versus size.
So crazy. Why is Gervonta Davis fighting a guy that big? There is some interest to that because you're not going to see Gervonta Davis. You're going to be able to see Gervonta Davis's feet. That's what I'm going to be interested to see, because I don't think Gervonta is going to jump out there and try to run up into Jake Paul and try to knock Jake Paul out. What I think Gervonta is going to do is Gervonta is going to move his feet, just going to move, make Jake Paul miss a lot, make Jake Paul look really dumb just by using defense on him and making him swing at the wind, because that is going to be very tough for him to hit a guy that is that little. If you play basketball, for example, and you are a tall 6'1" guy and you try to stand in front of some 5'8", real quick 5'8" guy, trust me, their first steps are gone up out of there, those little teeny weeny dudes. So that's going to be very fun and interesting to watch how that goes down. Now, on the other side, you know what Jake Paul is going to do. He don't have no consciousness. He doesn't have a conscience about what he's trying to do. He's going to go in there try to hurt a 60-year-old Mike Tyson. He don't care. He wanted to Nate. He's way bigger than Nate Jones when he fought Nate Jones. You think he didn't care about hitting Nate Jones upside the head? He's definitely going to be looking to try to get as much as he can get off on Gervonta Davis, and I see him trying to run up on him, trying to maul him, trying to grab him, trying to club him, trying to do all kind of craziness, man. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting thing to watch. Now, let me tell you what I really hope, and I haven't seen for this particular card, but I know that I know it's going to be good, which is the undercard. The undercard for the Canelo Alvarez fight and Terrence Crawford fight is absolutely horrendous. There's nothing on the thing that would make you want to watch to tune into that thing.
Even Terrence Crawford, one of the best pound-for-pound boxers in the world, dismissed the idea of taking the Davis versus Paul matchup seriously. Crawford openly questioned how promoters could put a 195-pound fighter in the ring with someone from 135 pounds. To him, the event does not qualify as a real fight and seems more like a business move. His lack of reaction underlined the skepticism shared by many professionals in boxing who see this as a spectacle rather than a sport. Crawford's words highlight the divide between real competition and entertainment-driven fights.
Ferocious. This is speed and power and explosiveness combined. Like, they couldn't keep up with it.
Wanted to get your take on the Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. They just announced the fight. What's your instant reaction to that?
I don't have no reaction. I don't know what's going to happen with a 135-pounder going up against a 200-pounder. If it's scripted, then it's going to be good for the fans to watch.
What do you mean by scripted? Like rigged?
Yeah, like scripted.
But none of those guys want a fucking L, right?
I think it's not a real fight. I think it's because it can't be a real fight because they ain't in the same weight. So it'd be more like an exhibition.
I think it is an exhibition, but do you think they're like, but not one person saying like, yo, I'm going to fucking throw the match. You think?
I don't think.
Or you never know?
Yeah, I think they're going to go in there and spar. I don't think it's going to be you trying to kill me or I'm trying to kill you. I think it's let's go in here and make this money. It's more of a business tactic than anything.
Because that's what Jake and Mike kind of did.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, everyone bought into that. And then when you watched it, it was just like, bro, this sucks. I'm friends with Jake. I like him too. But that fight, I didn't like that one.
Jake too big for Tank, In reality, he's way too big for Tank. Like Tank is very talented, punch hard, explosive.
Analysts have debated whether Davis's punches will even have a noticeable effect on Jake Paul. In boxing, power often changes the outcome of fights, but against such a larger opponent, Davis's shots may not carry the same impact. The concern is that Paul's body mass will absorb much of the power, making Davis's task far harder than usual. At the same time, if Paul lands clean with his weight advantage, the effect on Davis could be devastating. This uncertainty creates tension and raises questions about whether this exhibition should even take place under the current conditions.
I am interested to see, will it look similar to this, or will it be even more definitive in favor of Tank, like some people are suggesting? And with it being 10 rounds, like Jake Paul did start to gas at the end of his last fight. Like if that happens, maybe Tank could look at that and go, right, I'm going to work the body early, and when you do start fading, then I'm going to fucking really put the pressure on you. And it's one thing with Julio Cesar Chavez, you know, in front of you, you know, who's trying a little bit in the last 2 rounds, but Tank, even as small as he is, it will be a lot harder to keep him off. And what will Tank's power be like as a 135er? Like he's probably going to be about 150 when he gets in there, maybe. Will those punches on the big fat dome of Jake Paul actually really hurt? Because power can translate up a couple of divisions, but like that's a lot of divisions. What if Jake just takes them? No problem. I'm not saying he will. I'm just saying it would be fucking weird. This really is size versus skill in its purest form, and that is why I've got to admit I'm fascinated to see it. To be honest, I'm a little disappointed as well, because I wanted to see Tank versus Roach after they went to a draw in their last fight, a very controversial draw. I think Tank should have fucking lost it, to be honest. Tank doesn't give a shit about legacy and belts. He doesn't give 2 shits about that. He just wants money. And unfortunately, it's going to really hinder his legacy. His legacy will just be, yeah, he had a good run. But he's never going to be up there with the greats, despite his talent. That being said, if he chins Jake Paul, it won't really matter because everyone will fucking love him, won't they? And ironically, I said Tank should be fighting Roach, but Jake Paul clearly now should be fighting Darren Till. This was Darren's fight the other night against Luke Rockhold, former UFC middleweight champion. Dropped him. Hard to watch. There was just a massive gap in ability there. Like Rockhold being like a very well-rounded fighter in MMA, but Till just such a specialist in stand-up, and it showed. And this knockout was fucking brutal. Oh god, it was a terrible one. I mean, his leg was bent back and everything. Mate.
A controversial rumor has been making the rounds, suggesting that Gervonta Davis could be offered as much as $200 million to intentionally take a dive against Jake Paul. The speculation claims Davis might accept the money and hand Paul the win, sparking outrage among fans. Many see this as damaging to the credibility of boxing because it raises serious questions about the fight's authenticity. If such a deal were true, the matchup would no longer be about skill or legacy but pure business. This rumor has divided opinions and left fans unsure whether the event is a real competition or staged entertainment.
Now, really, y'all worry about the wrong question. Y'all worry about Roach, but the real question is, damn, is Tank getting paid $150, $200 million to take that dive versus Jake? Is he gonna do it? Now, I'm just thinking, like, damn, like, for them, $200 million? It's an exhibition, they gonna go on your record? Shit, what would I do? Would I take $200 million to lose a fake fight? Damn, G, Jake might win this fight, bro, because shit, $200 million is an exhibition, y'all already talking shit. $200 million. Would I take the dive? I think $200 million is worth taking a dive, gang. I honestly do think so. And it ain't even a real fight. I hope that's not the case, but that's a fucking solid fucking question. What the fuck is gonna happen in this fight? Like, is he gonna take the dive? It's an exhibition, so somebody gotta win. It's not real. It's like a play. When you really think about it, it's sparring. It's not real. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. What y'all think? What would you do? Would you take the $200 million to motherfucking lose to Jake Paul?
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.